Good afternoon. Happy Sabbath. Happy Saturday. We're getting ready to go into the Word, and before going into it on this afternoon, I'd just like to say I wish everyone that's watching at this time, I wish all things to be well with you. I trust and pray that you had a very good, I called it yesterday now since it's over, but I trust and pray that your holiday season is really going in the way that you not only would want it to go, but in the way that you've prayed that the Lord have allowed you to be able to go in this particular time, in the way in which you're traveling. So if we're going in God's way, then you're good. You're good. And I just like to say, before I start today, I can tell you what it's going to be about. Although I don't know what's going on, but I'm going to give you what was given to me. Let me just say that I pray that each and every one that's listening and looking in at this time, I pray that God deal with your heart and your mind as we go through the remainder of this year. And I just pray that the Lord just, open up our understanding so that we will be able to get what He has for us and be able to move forward in it. And that's a lot of things that we do. I do often. That's what we've been always talking so much about, forward moving and change. But what I'm going to talk to you about today, I'm not going to say for whatever it's worth, but to all that's going to hear, lock into this thing and get the understanding. I'm talking to you today about don't go back. And this is not a sermon, but I do want to say that if I had to have a subtopic, it would be this thing is mental. This thing is mental. And so many people speak from their mouth. And you say, well, where else are we supposed to speak from? But the word says, out of the abundance of the heart, the mouth speaketh. And whenever you speak, whatever the other people are hearing, that's what you want them to believe. And sometimes whenever you speak yourself, the things that you hear come out of your own mouth, you want to believe that, those things that you're saying, you want to say, hey, I'm saying what's the truth. But whenever you have experienced something that's bad, it's the experience. And this word experience I'm talking about is you knowing. An experience is something that you know because of the interaction that you've had with it. So whenever I say the experience that you had, whenever you know that it's not good or it wasn't good for you or to you, then you realize that it's time for a change. And sometimes this change means that you have to leave that experience. You have to leave, that place of interaction. You have to leave that place where what was done. You have to leave that place. So the Lord has been giving me different meanings for the word change. So for this one, today I said change is coming out of what's not comfortable to find what is. Coming out of what's not comfortable to find what is. And I'll say it like this. It might not have cost you anything to get into that you gotten into, but I can guarantee you that it's going to cost you something to get out. That's why I told you it's mental. It's going to take your mind. It's going to cost you your mind. And sometimes people really confuse coming out or deliverance with being free. However, they sometimes seem to think that this is one and the same, but it's not. You can come out of a place and be delivered out of that place, but you're still not free, because at any given time, you have the opportunity to go back into that place. So don't confuse being free with coming out or being delivered. The only time you are free is whenever you come out and your mind changes about the place where you've been. That's whenever you can be free. Okay? You know that there is better. Once you're in something that's not good for you, all our hearts and our minds go real quick. I know there's got to be something better. Well, better represents the quality. You might even say, well, I know there's something bigger. Bigger represents the quantity. And then we always say, It's got to be more to it than this. So more here represents your expectation, but you will never be able to get to the more. Why? Because knowing is half the battle. A lot of people know what they need to know and still don't move on what they know. Knowing is only half the battle. Why? Because you have limited yourself to what you're currently in. And yet you know from you saying to yourself, there's got to be better. I know it's bigger and there's more. But your problem is moving. Your problem is moving. Knowing is half the battle. The other half to conquering and being victorious is your ability to be able to move. So, but the problem with moving is that whenever you leave, you don't take everything. You leave some things behind. You leave and you be gone for maybe like 2 or 3 weeks, a month, 2. Oh, I forgot. I left my toothbrush. I left my hair dryer. I left my clothes. I left some clothes in the closet. See, going back sometimes is not a physical return. Going back can be mental. Of course, you remember the story in the Word of God with Lot and his wife, and how he talked about how Lot's wife looked back. A lot of people debate about what that means. However, let me tell you this. Sometimes you can hold on, and I'm just mean that you can keep where you left in your mind. And you can be out of the place physically, but your mind is still in the place where your body has left. So it's almost like you're a dead man walking. You're moving physically, but you're not going anywhere because of what you're still carrying. You're still carrying the memories of what it is you say that you have been delivered from. And although you may not return physically with the body, you still have never left the place because your mind is still there. You remember the children of Israel, right? You remember how Moses had to tell them, God said you need to come out and go to the desert because he wants you to go out there just to worship him. They told Moses basically, they said, Moses, but you know what? I'm being in bondage for so long. And see, that's the problem with a lot of people. You're so accustomed to the treatment. You're so accustomed to the place that you're in and the things that you're receiving. And that's mental, because you say in your mind that there's bigger, there's better, and there's got to be more. But what you're currently in the midst of, you can say it, but not be able to see it. So because you cannot see it, then it causes you to limit yourself to be able to stay in the same place where you still say that there is bigger, better, and more. However, just as the children of Israel was, we can tell you to come out and don't go back. But however, they had to be convinced. And sometimes, you'll understand just by a lesson that, what you're in, you think that it was good, but I tell you the truth, God got a way of using that same thing to beat you, to let you know that, what you got not only is not good to you, it's not good for you. And when you get enough stripes, when you get enough of them licks, you'll move. And I'm not saying being physically abused or anything, and maybe that may be the situation in some circumstances. But I'm just saying that there'll come something that'll cause you to move, because you will at a time, you will get to the place where you say enough is enough. You say no more. But whenever you move physically and that's in you remain, something has to come at you to cause you to physically move. Once the children of Israel made up in their mind, they said, oh, okay, Moses, they said, you know what? We're going to do it. Just because you said it's time to go, we're going to go. And see, just like them, we find ourselves in the same situation. Can you leave what you're in and come out into nothing? See, that's what they had to do. In the desert, there wasn't nothing. But the first time you make up your mind that you will leave is the time that God gets in there and he begins to work on your behalf. And you find out that you coming out leaving everything that you're about to leave, everything that you're about to walk out from. And whenever you walk out into what you think is nothing, you will see just how much he's already supplied for you. But it's going to take a mind. It's going to take a mind to walk and to not look back. See, anytime you can say about a situation or about a person, anytime you can talk about how that person used to be, but yet, you know, they're currently not. And that causes you to live in all of what you're going through because you remember how it used to be. Well, things changes. Things change, people change. Situation and circumstances change. But while you're receiving who they have yet become, it's letting you know that it's time for you to move. Who you remember them to be is not who you're currently dealing with. So that's whenever you can say, that's whenever you can get to the place that, you know what, when you see that type of change come into that, you be like, nah, I didn't sign up for this. That's when you can use that. Now, I did not sign up for this. And sometimes you have to, you know, be able to leave and let people just deal with their own demons. Sometimes you can't be the savior for everybody. You have to leave sometimes and let them deal with their own demons. And when you leave and take everything with you so you don't have anything to return back for. Let your past on today stay behind you and let your future stay in you. See, you thought I was going to say before you. You need to let your future stay in you. Let your past stay behind and let your future stay in you. Because that's the only way that you're going to be able to move forward. Knowing that within you, it's taking you to your future. Let it go. When you leave, don't go back. Blessings to you on today. Happy Sabbath.